Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is your host Majestic speaking, and today we're going to be looking back at some more MechWarrior Online here, except today I'm not going to be doing any gameplay. I'm going to be continuing with the FanRequest build series, and in the FanRequest build series from the last video I said all I want you guys to do is in the comments section below to, tell me what kind of build you would want to see featured on the channel, and whoever got the most likes and the most comments to that build I would feature on the channel, because then I feel like the most people are participating and would appreciate that to be featured on the channel next. So it's been almost a month now, and I was looking back on the comments, and this was as of I think yesterday that I decided, you know what, I'm just going to look at the comments, and whoever has the most, that's what I'm going to do the build off of. So I was looking at it, and it's not one particular build that won. I was scanning through them all, and who got the most likes and comments, including my own, replies in the comment section, is Imperialus11. And his suggestion that he wanted to see budget mechs. So he wanted me to build my own lance with 25 million C-bills as my stipulation, which I thought was pretty awesome, because considering the fact that, obviously someone could have just put, build a lance and tell me what you would put in it. Well, that's pretty easy if I don't have, any kind of threshold that I can't exceed with C-bills, because then I'll just pick my favorite mechs, obviously. But with a 25 million C-bill stipulation, that really made me think, and it made me have to budget and prioritize, where I wanted to spend my C-bills. So I'm going to go through my, my lance, I guess you could say, and you guys can leave a comments in the section below what you guys would do differently. But again, you have to keep in mind you can only spend 25 million C-bills. Okay, that's it. So if you exceed it by 100,000, it doesn't count. All right. So I really cut it close with with what my lance would be. So let's dive into it here. I'm going to go back into some MechWarrior, and the first one up is the Firestarter FS9S. And this little bugger is quite the powerful mech, especially for the price. So you spend 2.1 million C-bills, and you get a light with very, very hard hitboxes. It's very fast. It's got a great amount of firepower behind it, and and it runs on an angle, so it's hard to hit. So you got tough hitboxes. Again, it's fast. It goes, well, with this engine in it, when you buy it from the store, it only goes 104 kph. But when you customize it and build it to your own, I'm going based off the price of the mech in the store. So, with 25 million C-bills buying from the store, these are just like, in their rawest state. So obviously they're going to be a little more customizable and stuff like that. But, the Firestarter FS9S, 7 energy hardpoints. And all the quirks build around the medium pulse lasers. So, there's only 2. It's a medium pulse laser heat generation quirk, 5% bonus, and then energy heat generation, 10% bonus. So, this thing packs a lot of firepower for a light. It's very, very quick. It's got great hitboxes, a great loadout, and it's cheap. 2.1 million C-bills, if you have premium time, even just like a day of premium time, you could get this mech in a day. It's it's not that tough to get 2.1 million C-bills in an outing. So that was that's my suggestion for a light mech. If you're going to figure one out and you want one for the price, it's the Firestarter FS9S. I was looking at the Arctic Cheetah and the Wolfhound and everything like that. These guys are a little more expensive. They're quick, and they have some quirks that go along with them and everything. The Cheetah is just way too expensive for a light. You're using almost a third of the budget that I have to stand by if I were to take an Arctic Cheetah, and I'm not that much of a light pilot. So, I decided to just stick with my guns, and even though it's inner sphere, it's cheap. It's definitely an all-around keeper if you're going to test out whether or not you're a light pilot, just because it's an all-around, balanced mech for a light mech. So you can really figure out whether or not you will appreciate this type of mech based off this particular chassis, because a lot of these other mechs that are in here are in some way, shape, or form, do involve lasers or missiles or something like that. And with medium lasers or something like that, or medium pulses like this guy has, it's really catering to the short to mid-range. So, if you can pilot this thing and you appreciate it, well, that's definitely the choice that I would go with for my light in my lance. Again, this guy's just too expensive, and these guys, it's just not the same amount of firepower, and it's a little too, it's even more expensive than this guy. So for budgetary reasons and for the DPS, the quickness, the hitboxes, the Firestarter FS9S is my choice. For mediums, I think you guys know what I'm going to do. Again, I'm going to go with a budgetary, kind of choice here. But not only is it a budgetary choice, it's one of my favorites, and it's another inner sphere. It's a medium. Well, obviously it's a medium, but in the next class for a medium, I chose the Blackjack 1X. And the reason why I love this thing so much, 8 energy hard points, it's cheaper than the Firestarter I just showed you. It's only 2 million, a little over 2 million. It's just an all-around fantastic mech. And with the quirks that are involved with it, energy heat generation, energy cooldown, energy range, it's essentially telling you with the 8 energy hard points, put medium lasers on there. It's the best way to keep your heat management in check, and it's the best way to make sure that you're doing maximum amount of DPS. This thing flies. By the time you get it mastered, you put an XL engine in it. I know that, obviously you can't get your torso blown off or anything like that, but it's quick, it's nimble. When you master it, it does a ton of damage. It's definitely one of my favorites. I've done some of my greatest rounds in this mech, and it's my go-to. If I'm having bad rounds and I want to, switch the, turn the tide and put myself more in the advantageous spot, I bring this guy out. So this is the Blackjack 1X. It's a medium inner sphere mech. It's only 2 million C-bills. So between the two mechs that I just showed you, I've only spent 4 million C-bills. A little over 4 million. What, 4.1? Yeah, 4.14 or something, 4.144, something like that. So it's definitely, for budgetary reasons, it's got a great loadout, great structure. The armor on it is fantastic. It's a durable mech, and you place an XL on there, and it really does pack a punch. When you're getting hit with 8 lasers at the same time, and this thing, for the heat management and the quirks that are involved with it, unbelievable. Can't say enough about it. But I do have to continue on with the video here. I could talk about this guy all day, but I obviously have to move on. So for the heavies was the toughest choice for me because I didn't want to play it conservative. And I decided that I was going to go with a clan for my heavy. So obviously the price just skyrockets as you increase, in weight class, as I like to call it. Between the heavies and the assaults, you're going to be spending the most C-bills. There's no way around it. If I'm going on inner sphere, obviously, it's going to be more expensive to get a heavy, and even with the clans, it just starts to skyrocket. You're going to see differences of almost double the price with the heavies. So, and what I mean by that is the double the price between the inner sphere versus clan heavies. So, without further ado, my choice for a heavy battle mech to place in my lance is overall the Evan Jaguar, and specifically the Evan Jaguar A variant. That thing has 3 ballistic hard points, 7 energy hard points. It doesn't have a lot of quirks, but it's a very, very balanced mech. And I know you guys might be thinking, well, why not the Hellbringer? Why not the Mad Dog? Well, for the loadout that's on this thing, and it has 5 more tons to work with. It's a 65-ton heavy versus the Mad Dog, which is a 60-ton heavy. And the Hellbringer just, if I look at the Hellbringer, I'll just show a little basic overview. It has the 65 tons, but it doesn't have the same type of loadout. This has 3 ballistics and 7 energy. This guy has 3, 3, and 2. Then on this, on the Prime, you have 2, 5, 1, 1, 1. You can do a Hellbringer, but for me personally, I just love the ballistics and energy hard points. So, personally, and they're about the same price too. It's in fact the A variant of the Evan Jaguar is cheaper than 2 of the 3 Hellbringer variants. And I don't, personally, I do like the B variant of the Hellbringer, but it's not, my favorite. It took me so long to figure out that I wanted this, so, I was just like, you know what? I like the Jaguar. The A variant is great, especially if you like using ballistics, you like the energy, hard points, and so forth on it. It's a great mech to use, and you could really tinker with it a lot, especially with the Omnipods and stuff to customize it. Versus the Mad Dog, obviously, like I said, it's got great hard points for it. It's a very skirmishy brawler kind of mech. You're getting a lot for your money with these things, and they are cheaper than the Ebon Jag. But again, it's 5 tons lighter, so I can't fit as many, because all of my ammo that I'm using on these things are missiles and ballistics. If I do use energy, it doesn't pack as much of a punch as the Ebon Jaguar would, and it'll also, like, if I'm using missiles and ballistics, I'm going to run out of ammo quicker, especially since I have 5 more tons of ammo that I can shove into this guy than I would need, than I can do on the Mad Dog. So, I love the Mad Dog, and I love the Hellbringer, and I love, the Thunderbolt and the Timberwolf and all those guys, but, look at the price of a Timberwolf. That's like 2 million more C-bills for this guy than it is for my Ebon Jaguar. Now, the Thunderbolt was the only inner sphere that I looked at, but I figured, and you could even see it's almost triple the price. Like if I took the 5SS, which is the one that I would have taken, that's 5 million C-bills compared to 13 million. So, but I really decided to stick for durability, and an all-around, balanced mech. Uses the hard points that I like to use. 3 ballistic hard points, 7 energy. You really can't go wrong with this thing, and it's very, very terrifying to look at when you're kind of staring down the barrel of a gun, especially since people do like to laser both these mechs. I like to make it a little more balanced by utilizing the ballistics a little more. But the Ebon Jaguar is going to be my choice for a heavy to place in my lance. So if you're adding up, hopefully you guys are adding up the C-bills. And by the time that this is over, you'll see that I did make it under budget. But without further ado, we're going to go into the last, or the fourth and final mech that I would place in my lance personally and utilize on the battlefield, and that is a Battlemaster. I'm going to go with the Battlemaster 1G, just because of the hard points and the quirks that are involved with it. It's got ballistic range and cooldown. It's got 2 ballistic hard points, 7 energy hard points, a missile hard point in case you do want to utilize that, but it does have ballistic and energy quirks. And that's all this thing is built around. And for the price, 7.7 million C-bills, that is what allowed me to go under budget. So I know that, the 3M and people like even the 3S and the 2C and stuff like that, but these are more expensive mechs, and I wouldn't have fitted in the budget if I used these. So from the standpoint of making sure that I fit myself in the budget, the Atlas is too expensive. And, if I wanted to go with a Direwolves are 17, almost 18 million C-bills. That would have been, a majority of my budget that I could have used. Executioner, again, 11 million versus 7 million. So, when you're looking at these guys, the only other one that I was thinking about for Inner Sphere was the King Crab, but even he's at 9.8, or 9.8 is the cheapest. And again, there aren't Omnipods for the Inner Sphere, so it's really, I'd be sticking with whatever the loadout is I just have to deal with. So I decided to go with the 1G just because it does cater to the quirks and hard points that I would want in my assault to have. So, that's the only reason why I decided to go with the Battlemaster. I had to fit the budget, and I had to make sure that not only did it fit my criteria for hard points, durability, and everything like that. I don't have one yet, and I think that's what I'm going to save up for next. I don't have the Battlemaster chassis mastered, so I think that I'm going to do that next. For an assault, I just don't tinker around with the assaults much. But I do like the Battlemaster, especially for the price. I spent a ton of money. Over half of it on the EBJAG, so I kind of had to, I definitely wanted the Firestarter, I definitely wanted the Blackjack. When I put the Ebon Jaguar in there, then it was just like, well, okay, how much money do I have left? And if you decide that you want to test me and make sure that I am, sticking to the budgetary restrictions that were placed on this build, you would find that I ended up at 24,990,113 C-bills. So, I mean, I'm less than 9,000 C-bills away from being over budget. So, this video was definitely a challenge, and I really like this kind of content. You know, it gives the players who are new, you know, a chance to see what they can do with the amount of C-bills that they have. You know, C-bills, obviously, you can just constantly keep accumulating them if you keep playing and stuff like that, but for all intensive purposes, I feel like, you know, if, you know, 25 million C-bills, that's a very, very fair budget to work with. And, you know, especially when you're first starting and you get all the cadet bonuses and everything like that, you can really get, you know, up to 25 million C-bills pretty darn quick. So, with that being said, I'm just going to leave it at that. That is my lance that I would take into battle with me, that I would trust, you know, to carry my forces to victory. It is the Firestarter FS9S for the lights. It is the Blackjack 1X for the mediums, the Jaguar A variant for the heavies, and the Battlemaster 1G for the assaults. All of these, I'm just going based off the stock price that you could purchase them for in the store. This is not built around custom loadouts or anything like that. This is just what you get, you know, fresh out of the box. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is, again, a you know, just a fan request build that I really enjoyed, that apparently, you know, you guys enjoyed the most. It got the most likes and comments on it. And again, in the comment section of this video, we're going to keep going about it this way. Now, anyone who enters into this video, place your you know, your loadout or whichever mech that you would like to see on the battlefield. If you want it to be a custom build, just see what I work with on a mech that you haven't seen me feature on the channel yet, and that gets the most commentary and the most likes. I'll obviously, you know, do that. You could do another video like this where you give me a budget and I have to figure out a lance, or you could just say what is, you know, really it's up to you guys. I'm not even going to keep, you know, giving examples, because you guys could really ask whatever you want, and whoever gets the most support for their commentary, that is the next build that I'm going to feature on the channel. So, in any case, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a ton of fun working with this. It was challenging. It was just a ton of fun to really look into and be like, man, what would I do if I had my own lance and I picked one of each weight class to go into battle with. So, you know, these are the kind of videos that I really like to do, and I really feel like it helps you guys out as the learners, and even whether you're, you know, experienced or beginner, whatever the case is, I feel like anyone can really appreciate looking at it from that standpoint, because, you know, essentially that's what you would be doing if you were in, you know, the BattleTech space. You would have your own lance, and you would probably be the drop commander of your lance, and you would have a pilot for each of these weight classes. I mean, it's as simple as that. So it's kind of cool to put yourself like in a situational kind of a approach for these videos, and that's why I really did enjoy doing this one. The last thing I'm going to say is just remember, if you do want to be a part of the 1,000 subscriber giveaway, to shoot me an email, which I will leave in the comment section, or in the description section below. And if you want to see what my custom builds are for these mechs in particular, well, once I get the Battlemaster 1G, then I will be more than willing to share those with you. And if you have any other comments, questions, or concerns, please leave them in the comment section below, or you can shoot me an email that way. But anyway, thank you guys so much again for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care.